everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Last time, I created a completely new and unique Pokemon Challenge type called the Namesake Challenge, where I tried to beat all of Pokemon White only using a Lombre, Quillfish, and a Clamperl, because a Pokemon Hunter from Pokemon Coliseum shares my name and only uses those Pokemon. That video was a blast to make, and it's one of the most fun I've ever had doing a challenge video. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely check it out after you're done watching this video. This week, after the Namesake Challenge, I wanted to continue down the line of regions doing Pokemon solo runs. Last time we did Stonejourner on Pokemon Sword, and this time we're headed to the 7th generation in the Alola region with one of the most unique Alolan Pokemon introduced. Over 80 new Pokemon were introduced with the 7th generation, and just like with Stonejourner, this Pokemon can only be found in one area and is very rare and very late into the game. That Pokemon is Dhelmise! Dhelmise is one of the first Alolan Pokemon that I had seen, due to a leak on Twitter, unfortunately. And I knew right then and there I absolutely loved the design and wanted to give Dhelmise a chance on my initial playthrough. However, unfortunately, because I picked Rowlet, and it's the same type, and I never actually even came across a Dhelmise in my first playthrough. It's only found in the Seafolk village at a 1% chance when fishing in Sun and Moon, or a 10% in the bubbling spots. Meaning I never came across it, and it's likely a lot of you never did as well. So unfortunately, I never got to use a Dhelmise then, and I never did end up using a Dhelmise at all. So I decided that was all going to change, with Dhelmise being the perfect candidate for our Alolan region solo run. You are not going to want to miss this video. This is one of the most difficult challenge runs I have ever tried to do. These videos take a ton of effort, a ton of passion, and time to make, so it would really mean the world to me if you went ahead and clicked that like button if you find yourself enjoying this video at any point. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, definitely don't forget to subscribe as well. So, can I beat Pokemon Ultra Sun only using a single Dhelmise without any items in battle? Let's jump right in and find out! Dhelmise is the Sea Creeper Pokemon. It's a ghost and grass type, and for those of you that are unaware, Dhelmise itself is not the anchor. The true body of Dhelmise is the seaweed, which has taken control of the anchor. Looking at Dhelmise's stats, they are pretty decent. Really high attack with 131, and solid defense with 100. However, Dhelmise is incredibly slow, with only base 40 speed. Speed is everything when it comes to a solo run. And with it learning no moves to boost its speed, we're going to need to find a way around that if we want to win this challenge. Looking at Dhelmise's level up moves, we can already see some pretty game-changing moves in Mega Drain and Giga Drain. Without being able to use items in battle, we need any and all healing that we can get. Oh yeah, and Switcheroo! That move will be game-changing, I guarantee it. We can give our enemy our booty, because we're good pirates. Joking aside, that move is completely useless for a solo run. Dhelmise is one of the most unique Pokemon in existence when it comes to its ability, Steelworker. Steelworker essentially makes Dhelmise the first and only Pokemon with a third type. It boosts the power of Steel-type moves by 50%, which basically gives it the same type attack bonus, or stab, with Steel-type moves, without gaining the type defensively. As for the rules of this challenge, they are pretty much the same as they will always be for my challenge runs. I'm not allowed to use any items in battle. This of course excludes Pokeballs and any held items. There is one forced double battle required to enter Po-Town. Our Dhelmise is the only Pokemon allowed to move during battle. I must catch another Pokemon to start that battle, but during its turn, I will use items from my bag that have no effect, such as an antidote on a non-poisoned Pokemon. This item will not be consumed, resulting in the use of no items, and technically still only using Dhelmise during battle. The challenge will begin the moment I can access my PC, swapping my starter for the Dhelmise deposited in this PC using Pokemon Bank. If you want, comment down below and let me know if you think I can do this without over-leveling. Obviously I could do it at level 100, but I'm curious if I could do this before level 80. With all that out of the way, let's jump right in and see if I can beat Pokemon Ultra Sun only using a single Dhelmise. Alright, I begin my adventure in the Alola region as a young boy named Lafui, or in this case, we're Captain Lafui. For my starter Pokemon, I chose Rowlet, since it's exactly like Dhelmise when it fully evolves, being a ghost and grass type. After getting the Pokedex and visiting Professor Kukui's house, we enter our first Pokemon Center, giving us access to the PC. I open it up, and inside awaits a level 1, freshly hatched Dhelmise, named Depth's Head. I'm Lafui, and I'm behind the wheel of this ship. If you get this reference, you gotta tell me. I swap our Rowlet out for Depth's Head, and this run officially begins. After clearing out the entire school, Depth's Head reaches level 10, and we make our way to fight Captain Olivia. We Mega Drain our way through him with ease and head north to the Verdant Cavern, home of the first trial site. Inside, I grab TM31 for Brick Break, which surprisingly, Depth's Head can learn. This makes the first trial a breeze, easily knocking out Gumshoes and the ally Yungoos with Brick Break. I was upset I was unable to play Ultra Moon for this, as I thought it would be harder with the Totem Raticate. However, Raticate being 4 times weak to fighting would have made it easier than Gumshoes, likely one-shotting it. We get our first Z Crystal in the Normalium Z, and after easily defeating the Ultra Recon Squad Dulce and our rival Hau, we make our way back to Iki Town to take on the first Grand Trial versus Island Kahuna Hapu. Naturally, with Depth's Head being a ghost type, this fighting type trial's a breeze. We use Growth to raise our attack and special attack by 1 stage, and since his Machop is unable to hit us, it switches out into Crabrawler. From here, we easily knock out all 3 of his Pokemon with Brick Break and Mega Drain, winning our first Grand Trial. 1 down, 3 to go. I take a picture with my ship and surf on over to Akala Island. After getting a well-needed makeover, I get challenged to a battle by a guy named Dexio. He only has 2 Psychic types, so the fight goes astonishingly well. We reach Paniola Town, and Hau challenges us to another fight. This one goes exactly the same as the last, Brionne or not. And as we near the trial site, we have our first fight with Gladion, a much more challenging opponent for Dhelmise. He leads with his Zubat, and since I have barely ever played Ultra Sun or Moon, I use Astonish on it. Surprised to learn it was not a Zubat, but instead a Zorua. Its Feint Attack does quite a bit to Depth's Head, and because it's faster, we lose the fight the first time. The second time around, I know that Zubat is in fact a Zorua, so I land a quick Brick Break, thanks to the Quick Claw, taking the Zorua out easily, and his actual Zubat and Titanol follow suit. Time for our next trial! This time, it's Totem Marowak. I start by using Growth as it uses Leech Life. It calls in an ally Dewpider as I continue to use Growth. The strategy behind this was hoping I could deal a lot of damage with Mega Drain, causing me to heal back the damage they dealt. Unfortunately, a combination of being outsped and just not dealing as much damage as I thought causes us to go down after just a few turns. I tried the same thing again, hoping for better Quick Claw luck, and after 3 turns of Growth, I'm able to outspeed with the Quick Claw and one-shot Dewpider with a Mega Drain, healing us up from 10 HP to 31, and leveling us up to level 23. And to my surprise, we get the power we need. Depth's Head learns Giga Drain over Mega Drain, and that's enough to take a Rockwanid out in 2 shots. We get the Waterium Z, which allows us to make our way over to Whale Volcano Park, home of our next trial, the dreaded Fire-type trial, Totem Marowak. Knowing I'm gonna need to be at a higher level, I take down all the trainers in the surrounding area and eventually get from level 26 to level 30. You may think this is overkill, but what I failed to mention is at this point, I had been throwing myself at this trial for over 3 hours. Totem Marowak outspeeds us, and will either use Flame Wheel or Detect on the first turn. Detect allows it to freely call in its ally Salazzle, and both of them are capable of taking Depth's Head out in 1 turn. My best moves right now are Astonish and Whirlpool. I could overlevel to level 36 and have Shadow Ball, but because Depth's Head was traded, he will stop obeying me at level 35. And overall, I'm just not a fan of overleveling to solve my problems. I'm gonna do this at level 30. So for a long time, I thought my only way out of this was to use the Waterium Z and use Hydro Vortex the first turn. If Marowak used Detect, it would kill my damage and I'd have to reset. Hydro Vortex does not one-shot Marowak, so I thought my only chance was getting a critical hit. After 2.5 hours of straight fishing for a critical hit, I finally got it. And it did not knock it out. I was out of ideas. My only strategy I could think of finally happened and it didn't work. But then I started thinking back. I'm known for coming up with strategies, so surely there's something Depth's Head can do to overcome this trial. Then I remembered. Back at the Royal Avenue, you can buy the TMs for weather moves. Sunny Day, Hail, Sandstorm, and Rain Dance. By summoning the rain on the first turn, when it uses Detect, it weakens all of their fire-type attacks and powers up our Hydro Vortex. However, it's a damage range for Hydro Vortex in the rain to one-shot Marowak, so on the second turn I go for Growth, powering our special attack, allowing us to one-shot the Totem, only leaving Salazzle left. This was still no pushover. Salazzle likes to use Poison Gas with Venoshock. This puts us down before we can get rid of it. But luckily, on this attempt, Marowak burned us. This would normally be horrible, but since I'm using Whirlpool, a special move, and a lucky critical hit with Whirlpool one-shots Salazzle, ending this 3-hour struggle, getting the Fiery MZ and finishing Kiawe's trial. The last regular trial for Akala Island is the Grass-type trial. We follow Mallow into the lush jungle and attract the totem Pokemon Lurantis to battle. While Giga Drain is the only move I have to deal damage with other than Whirlpool, and it's not very effective on Lurantis, I have a plan. She calls in an ally Kecleon to support herself, which I target the first turn to get some health back with Giga Drain, and for the experience. Knocking out Kecleon levels Death's Head up to level 32, which is the level Dhelmise learns its signature move, Anchor Shot. This is an 80 power steel type attack, which because of our steel worker ability also gets the same type attack bonus. This easily knocks Lurantis out in 2 shots, as the second ally Comfey comes in. It tries to use Floral Healing on Lurantis, but because of the Quick Claw, we took it out, and Comfey followed right after. With the Grassy MZ in hand, we quickly head over to our second Grand Trial site, but we get stopped by Team Admin Plumeria. She has a Golbat and a Salandit. With the TM move for Bulldoze, we're able to make quick work of her Salandit, and even take a Flame Burst, but this will not be the case for Plumeria anymore. It's time for the second Island Kahuna. This time, it's Olivia. She leads with an Anorith, which isn't weak to Grass, but it is weak to Steel, so Anchor Shot takes it out in 1 hit, and her ace, Midnight Lycanroc, comes out. And while it has a super effective bite, I'm able to finish it off with a Giga Drain and Bulldoze, with her final Pokemon being the other Hoenn fossil, Lileep. I use Giga Drain to play it safe and get a little bit of HP back, and Anchor Shot finishes it off the next turn, finishing our second Grand Trial. 2 down, only 2 to go. On our way to Ula Ula Island, we have a quick detour at the Aether Paradise and get ambushed by an Ultra Beast. And in a rare occurrence, we actually knock it out because Anchor Shot kept it from fleeing. First things first, new island, new fight against rival Hau. He leads with his Brionne once again, and I start by using Growth multiple times to put myself in a sweeping position. Giga Drain one-shots Brionne, Bulldoze for Flareon, 2 Giga Drain for Noibat, Giga Drain for Raichu, and Giga Drain for Tauros. With the move Bulldoze by our side, I figured this next trial would be a joke. Boy, was I wrong. Totem Togedemaru is 4 times weak to ground, but its aura flaring to life sharply raises its defense. Well, gee, it's almost like they predicted people would use Bulldoze for this. But that's not all! It's obviously faster than our slow Dhelmise, and it has the move Bounce. This makes it immune for a turn like Fly or Detect, giving it a chance to call in an ally Skarmory, who is also immune to Bulldoze. Meaning the majority of the time, I'm not doing anything. And to make matters worse, Bounce has a high chance of paralysis. Rather than sit here for 3 hours, I try to devise a strategy that will make this fight more than a lucky critical hit and Quick Claw activation. I remember back on Akala Island, there was a TM shop for the move Protect. By having Death's Head learn Protect, I'll be able to completely shut down the move Bounce. If I use it every time it's in the air, I won't be hurt when it comes down. This, coupled by me using Growth in between turns, gets my attack stat high enough to one-shot Togedemaru, completely bypassing the Citrus Berry. But I still have to deal with Skarmory, and it likes to use the move Torment. To be completely safe, I need to have Bulldoze hit Togedemaru before it uses Bounce with the Quick Claw. But if it uses Spiky Shield on the turn the Quick Claw activates, it won't do anything. And I can't reuse it the next turn to try again because of the Torment. After getting to +5 attack, I go for Bulldoze. And with the Quick Claw's help, I'm able to take Togedemaru out in a single shot. An Anchor Shot is enough to take out Skarmory. After almost 2 hours, we're done with the trial and get the Electrium Z. Next up, we have one of my favorite characters ever. It's ya boy, the big bad boss Guzma. And I learned something pretty valuable here in Ultra Sun and Moon about Guzma. He leads with his Golisopod, and it seems if you're weak to Sucker Punch and not one of his other moves, he will always use Sucker Punch. That's fantastic, as I know Sucker Punch only has 5 uses. So I use Growth 5 times, and every single time this man's using Sucker Punch. So by manipulating his AI like this, it'll make all fights with Guzma an absolute joke. After dealing with Team Skull again at the Aether House, it's time for the next trial, and this one is gonna be a never-ending nightmare. It's Totem Mimikyu. Going into this, I thought I could make quick work of it by breaking its disguise and then blasting it with a corkscrew crash. But Mimikyu easily 2-shots Death's Head and outspeeds every single time. So, I devise a plan. I go do some Mantine surfing to replace Anchor Shot with the move Iron Head. They're the same base power, but Iron Head has a 30% chance to flinch. This is reliable enough to make a strategy out of, but in the end, Mimikyu is going to be a gigantic RNG fight for our Dhelmise. At this point, we're level 42, and I was not going any higher than that. However, every time I didn't get the Quick Claw activation on turn 1, I still played the second turn. If the Quick Claw were to activate on my second turn and get a critical hit on Mimikyu, we'd likely knock it out right away. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And we get another critical hit with Shadow Claw, taking Bayonet out as well. Another trial that took nearly 3 hours is done, and it wasn't about to get any better. Plumeria's Salandit has evolved into Salazzle, and she's back. It took me over a half hour just to beat Plumeria. Her Golbat leads and does about half of our health with a Wing Attack, and it takes 2 Iron Heads to knock it out. And I cannot flinch it with the Quick Claw because it has Inner Focus. But we can take 2 Wing Attacks. And it doesn't really matter how much damage Golbat does, as Salazzle one-shots us with Flamethrower no matter what. My only way out of this was Quick Claw against Salazzle. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Took me 40 minutes to get 1 Quick Claw activation. Nonetheless, we beat her, and we head to Po Town to fight Guzma again. I try the same Growth against Sucker Punch strategy, and it still works. It uses Sucker Punch 5 times, while I use Growth 5 times, and I one-shot Golisopod, Pinsir, and Masquerain with the help of the Quick Claw for the Masquerain. Afterwards, Gladion challenges us again, and his final Pokemon being type Null manages to take us out. But to my surprise, you don't even have to win that battle. Upon losing, the story just continued as normal and Gladion left. The same thing actually happened with How earlier on when we reached Ula Ula Island, but I reset the game and beat him anyways. I felt awful about this, but I couldn't do that this time. I hadn't saved in ages, but regardless, I definitely could have beaten him. So I suppose it's not that bad, all things considered. And anyways, a much worse opponent was immediately after. Our third grand trial, Island Kahuna Nanu, the Dark-type Kahuna. Death's Head is weak to Dark. Damn, are we gonna catch a break here or what? I never realized just how many fights in this game Dhelmise is weak to. After getting stomped by his Persian multiple times, I decide we need a bit of training. Death's Head will stop obeying us after level 50 until we beat Nanu, so I fight some trainers and get him up to level 50. In the end, I got incredibly lucky against Nanu. This very well could have gone on for hours, but everything lined up perfectly. Sableye takes 2 hits to knock out and does a good amount to us with Shadow Ball, and his Krokorok comes in, lowering our attack with Intimidate, and knocks us out with Crunch most of the time. But for some odd reason, Krokorok used Swagger. I hadn't seen it do that for 30 straight minutes, but it rose my attack 2 stages, and with the Growth I used against Sableye, we're sitting at +2. This would allow us to knock out his Persian in 1 shot, if Death's Head doesn't hurt himself. Luckily, Giga Drain hit Krokorok and took it out, nearly healing us to full, and I managed to get a Protect off against Persian, making Black Hole Eclipse do minimal damage. We survived the following Dark Pulse, and we don't flinch, and hit through the confusion, hitting Persian with our newly learned Heavy Slam, taking it out and winning our third grand trial. 3 down, only 1 more to go! We scale the Aether Paradise and abuse Guzma's will to sucker punch us once again, and I fear the absolute worst when coming face to face with Lusamine. We've had some insanely difficult fights. All I wished for was a break. And to my surprise, Lusamine was that break. We one-shot her lead Clefable with Heavy Slam, and do the same to her Lopunny. Giga Drain takes Milotic down in 2 shots and heals us up a good bit, and Beware takes 3 Giga Drains to knock out. But Dual Chop misses me and Zen Headbutt doesn't do very much. And her only Pokemon left is Lilligant, who only seems to want to use Teeter Dance. But we hit through, and Heavy Slam takes it out in 1 shot. I just beat Lusamine on the first try. I never expected that. Nice! We reach Dhelmise's home, the Sea Folk Village, and the 4th island of the Alola region, being Pony Island. After heading to Exeggutor Island to get the Sun Flute, we make our way to the Fast Pony Canyon and reach our next trial site. It's time for Totem Kommo-o. Our short break came to an end quick. This monster of a threat, Kommo-o, calls in an ally, Noivern, which coupled with its Dragon Claw gets rid of Death's Head really quick. And I can't deal very much damage to either of them. I see my only chance of winning this fight is to get a critical hit with Corkscrew Crash on the first turn. That would knock it out in a single shot. I cannot deal with the Scizor or the Noivern it calls in. I have to get rid of it in 1 shot. I try this for 2 straight hours and never once get a critical hit. So I think to myself, dude, you're insane. You gotta come up with something better than this. So, I did. I go back to the drawing board and come up with a pretty cool strategy. I can get Synthesis and Iron Defense from the Wave Beach move tutors. If I get my defense really high, maybe I can out-heal the damage they're doing. I mean, it's worth a try. It's better than sitting there and resetting over and over hoping for a critical hit. Either way, I still need to start the battle with a Corkscrew Crash. Afterwards, I can start raising my defense. After about 20 minutes of getting BP, I've got my moves ready to go. I got a critical hit the first try back. I don't know if I was supposed to be mad about this or be glad it's over. I'm glad it's over. Kommo-o's done and we get to Dragium Z. Only 1 regular trial left. We zip through some Ultra Wormholes with Lunala and come face to face with every Nuzlocker's nightmare, Ultra Necrozma. Luckily, we're able to take a hit from it and blast it with a never-ending nightmare. But unfortunately, that's not gonna be enough. So instead, I go with a more reliable strategy. I give Death's Head the Quick Claw, again, and use Shadow Claw. While I still need the Claw to activate and get a critical hit to take it out in 2 hits, Shadow Claw has a high critical hit rate, meaning it only took about 20 minutes to put Ultra Necrozma down, and we hit level 64 in the process. Uh-oh. We're only 1 level away from Death's Head disobeying us, and we still have a lot to do before we fight Hapu. Heading back to Seafolk Village, we fight Mina and her fairies, who fall really quick to Death's Iron Head. And then she sends us on a quest to fight some of the trial captains. That would be fantastic and all, but Death's Head is really close to level 66, the level he stops obeying us at. We beat Alima and Mallow relatively quickly, and to my dismay, we have to fight Kiawe, fire types. Oh no! His Arcanine lead intimidates and destroys Death's Head, and fast with a Flare Blitz. But that gave me a wacky idea. We've struggled with speed this whole game, so I give Death's Head an Adrenaline Orb. That raises his speed when intimidated. This allows us to outspeed Arcanine and knock it out with a Rock Slide. We don't outspeed his Talonflame, however, but we thankfully can take a Brave Bird, and Rock Slide finishes it off, only leaving his Marowak. Oh god, not this thing again. Thankfully, we're much stronger now, and Rock Slide and a Shadow Claw takes it out, flinching it in the process, securing our victory against Kiawe. The final captain to fight is Sophocles. He leads with a Togedemaru, another familiar face, and we can easily take it out with a Bulldoze. The issue is, upon defeating Togedemaru, we hit level 66. which is the level Death's Head stops obeying us. Thankfully, however, Iron Head hits his golem twice in a row, taking it out, and his Magnezone comes in. Death's Head begins to loaf around, but thankfully is able to hit with Iron Head, aiming for a flinch since it and the golem both have sturdy. Death's Head listens one last time, finishing Magnezone off with Bulldoze, meaning there are only 2 battles left before he will obey us up to level 80. The final regular trial and the final grand trial. Rabambi and Hapu. This is my first time ever fighting Totem Rabambi, and I am shocked to discover the aura raises all of its stats by 2 stages. I immediately use Corkscrew Crash, and to my surprise, that's all it took! Straight up one-shotting Totem Rabambi without a crit! It's been since Gumshoe since we had an easy Totem battle, completing our final regular trial and opening the door to face Hapu on Exeggutor Island. This fight would be extremely easy if Death's Head were listening to me. All of her Pokemon are weak to grass except for her Flygon, and while her lead Golur has Shadow Punch, which does a lot of damage to us, it wouldn't matter if I could hit with Giga Drain. I need to take control of my ship! Otherwise, we're gonna sink! To one-shot the dangerous members of her team, I need to get a growth off. After doing so, Giga Drain one-shots Golurk, and with the big root I picked up in the lush jungle, it heals us back to full. Giga Drain takes her Ace Mudsdale out in one shot as well, and in comes her Flygon. It doesn't have much to do to me apparently, only using Dragon Breath, and with Death's Head finally obeying us, we take Flygon out, only leaving her Gastrodon, which I know we will one-shot. If we can hit through this disobedience! Death's Head listens to us one final time, finishing Hapu off, and finally coming to his senses. He'll now obey me until level 80, until we beat the game. So level 80 is our limit. We get the Ground EMZ, finishing our final grand trial. Only the Pokemon League remains. But before we can get there, we have to fight Gladion one final time. Death's Head is level 67, and at this point Gladion's a brick wall. His lead Crobat has Acrobatics and knocks us out in 2 shots every single time. There's almost no way around this thing without training. So I go fight some trainers I had skipped, getting up to level 68. And I go pick up every rare candy I had missed, taking us all the way from level 68 to 74. Even being level 74, Gladion destroys us. We need the trusty old Quick Claw once again. We take Crobat out after being hit by Acrobatics, and then his Zoroark comes in, disguised as a Lucario. The Quick Claw activates, taking it out in a single shot with Brick Break, as his Fire-type Silvally comes in, because we picked Rowlet. His Silvally thankfully uses Crunch over Multi-Attack, and we hang on with only 6 hit points. And the Quick Claw activates the next turn, finishing Silvally off. With his actual Lucario coming in, and with one final Quick Claw activation, Brick Break rips through Lucario, and that's it for Gladion for good. I share the light of our Z-Ring with Necrozma, who has fallen onto Mount Hakulani, and let it go free as I reach the peak of the mountain and the entrance of the Pokemon League. I expect the League to be nearly impossible without over-leveling a ton, with how much we've suffered throughout this adventure, but I enter and give it a shot anyways. I start with Olivia since I figure she'll be pretty easy, and she was. We used Growth against her lead Armaldo and swept through her with Giga Drain. Next up is Mulang, the user of Steel types. While this fight seemed incredibly daunting and impossible to overcome for the first 15 minutes or so, it actually went really well. His lead Klefki will always use Thunder Wave, meaning we have to do this fight paralyzed, which really amps up the luck required to do this. But Klefki doesn't do that much damage to us. By using Growth multiple times, it puts us in a position to heal back a lot of health with the Big Root and Giga Drain. I only use 2 Growth against Klefki, and you'll see why here in a moment. I then take it out with 2 more Giga Drain uses, as it drops my special defense with Flash Cannon. Next up is his Bisharp. If I don't land Giga Drain, we lose, because 2 Night Slashes without healing up is enough to take us out. Luckily, Giga Drain gets a critical hit, knocking Bisharp out in a single shot. And next up is his Ace Dugtrio. Here's why I only use 2 Growth. Just like Guzma, he too will spam Sucker Punch on us. I take this turn to use Growth, to get up to +5, and then use Giga Drain to finish Dugtrio off, getting back up to full health. His Metagross comes in and uses Meteor Mash. This doesn't do too much to us, so by hitting with Giga Drain, we heal back the damage comfortably and take it out in 2 shots, leaving his final Pokemon, Magnezone. For some reason, it used Screech, allowing us to take it out comfortably. The thing is, that Magnezone was his final Pokemon and has no physical moves. Why does it even have Screech? Whatever, I don't care. Mullane was done, and we moved on to Acerola. I did Olivia and Mullane first because I figured I could beat them. I saved Acerola and Kahili because I figured I could not beat them. Who was the easiest of them all? Acerola. I beat her on the first try. She leads with her Banette, and I use Growth. Shadow Claw does barely less than half to us, and Giga Drain one-shots Banette, healing us up back to half. Her Frostlass comes in and uses Confuse Ray. I mean, that's a lot better than Blizzard, as long as we manage to hit. And hit we do, knocking Frostlass out with an Iron Head as a Dhelmise of her own comes out. A girl of taste. I use Iron Head, hoping to flinch it, as I didn't think Shadow Claw would be enough. I predict her to heal, so I use Growth, allowing me to Giga Drain Dhelmise and get some health back. Our HP is cutting it really close, but thankfully, I have a plan. Her Dhelmise is using Shadow Ball, not Shadow Claw, so we live it. I then take her Dhelmise out with Shadow Claw of my own, since Dhelmise has much higher attack than special attack, and in comes her Palossand. I can outspeed Palossand and take it out in one shot with Giga Drain, healing us back up to almost full HP, with her final Pokemon being Drifblim, and one Shadow Claw seals its fate, only leaving Kahili left of the Elite Four. But Kahili is where our streak had come to an end. There was absolutely no way I was beating her. Her lead Braviary outspeeds us and takes us to really low HP with Brave Bird. And then her Mandibuzz comes in, outspeeds us as well, and takes us out. All of her Pokemon outspeed us, and they all are super effective against us. Even if the Quick Claw activated every time we needed it to, it would need to activate once for Braviary, twice for Mandibuzz, 3 times for Hawlucha, once for Toucannon, and once for Oricorio. That luck is so absurd, it's not gonna be feasible. And with no way to raise our speed, I'm afraid this is where our journey had unfortunately come to an end. Until I remembered, I do have an item in our bag that could raise our speed. A Salac Berry. It raises our speed in a pinch, and since Braviary always knocks us down to low HP, it would raise our speed every single time reliably. This allows me to knock out Braviary with Rock Slide, Mandibuzz with 2 Rock Slides, with one of them flinching, Toucannon, and Oricorio in one shot. But her Hawlucha, unfortunately, still outspeeds us, meaning the Salac Berry would not be enough. It only raises our speed by 1 stage. We need 2 stages of speed increase to outspeed her whole team to even stand a chance. And then, I come up with Galaxy Brain 1000. There is a way for Death's Head to increase his speed by 2 stages. Remember that useless move I mentioned towards the beginning of the video? Switcheroo? Switcheroo is a move that swaps my item with the opponent's item. How could that help us? Oh, it couldn't, but Z-Switcheroo could! The effect of Z-Switcheroo is it raises our speed by 2 stages. Why? I don't know, but don't ask questions! This is a run saver! With a heart scale, I have Death's Head remember the move Switcheroo and go back inside the Pokemon League. I start with Kahili to see if this would even work, and I use Z-Switcheroo with the Darkium Z to raise Death's Head speed by 2 stages. Z-Switcheroo failed, but it still raises my speed. Rock Slide takes Braviary out, Mandibuzz with a flinch, and Toucannon, and Hawlucha comes in. This is it, the moment of truth. If Hawlucha still outspeeds us, this run is not going to be possible for us. Death's Head outspeeds Hawlucha and gets a critical hit Rock Slide and flinches it, taking it out the next turn. And one final Rock Slide for Oricorio is all she wrote. That's all 4 Elite Four members defeated after fighting Olivia, Acerola, and Mullane one more time. The same way we did before, but now being at a higher level. Leaving only one battle left in this Dhelmise solo run. It's our rival How. He has a full team of 6 now, while we still only have our Dhelmise Death's Head. It's time to rear our ugly head one last time. His lead Raichu doesn't do much to us with Psychic, and we use a Z Switcheroo one more time, raising our speed 2 stages, and I use Growth twice to go for a sweep. With our newly found speed, we haven't had the whole game. And Giga Drain takes Raichu out in one shot. Rock Slide for Flareon. Rock Slide for the awesome Crabominable. Rock Slide for Noivern. Giga Drain wipes away Primarina, and all that's left is Tauros. One final Giga Drain eliminates Tauros, being only a few experience points. From level 80, we are now the Alola region's first ever champion. We just beat Pokemon Ultra Sun, only using a single Dhelmise in battle. And we have won this game! Holy crap, that run was insanely difficult! Had Death's Head ended up passing level 80, and he was really close, he would have no longer obeyed us until we beat the Pokemon League. And with how difficult the Pokemon League is, I think that would have been curtains for us. Overall, I had a blast with this run. It was actually the first time I ever finished Ultra Sun or Moon, and I think it was just a really enjoyable solo run because of all the strategies I had to employ to get past each obstacle. Almost every major fight was a roadblock for us. We had to use the rain to overcome Marowak, and even Z Switcheroo of all things to get enough speed to bypass the Pokemon League. That's really interesting and unique, and I think it's something we probably won't get to see for a really long time, if ever again. Oh yeah, and the Quick Claw. I never want to see another Quick Claw again. Anyways, guys, if you found yourself enjoying this video at all, it would really mean the world to me if you click the little thumbs up down below. Turning it from gray to blue helps the channel out a ton, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe as well and ring that bell to be notified of all future videos just like this in the future. Again, these videos take a massive amount of time and effort to make, but I'm really passionate about what I do here, and I really enjoy making them. So seeing that support down below in the form of likes and new people joining the channel really motivates me to keep doing what I do. Also, if you want to help the channel even further, you can leave a comment down below. Anything at all, tell me about the video, future challenges you're doing, future challenges you'd like to see me do in the future on the channel. Could really go a long way as well. I primarily make Pokemon Challenge Let's Play videos, specifically the Wedlock Challenge that Maryland created. However, recently I've began making Pokemon Challenge videos just like this one every single week on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to see all of the Pokemon challenges I've already done up to this point, you can check out a playlist found over here. And if you want to see a Pokemon Challenge Let's Play video like the Wedlock I mentioned, I go ahead and recommend this Pokemon Emerald series over here. It's one of my favorites I've ever done, and it's definitely a good binge-watchable series since it's already finished and has an incredible story. Anyways, guys, with all that out of the way, I really hope you enjoyed, and it truly means the world to me that you watch this video, and I hope to see you guys next time for another Pokemon Challenge. Until then, thank you so much for watching!